working for the Rich and Famous podcast, where, as you know by now, we are each week talking with different guests all over the world, doing all sorts of different jobs in the private sector. A bit of an insight into what kind of careers there are there, really. And today I'm really excited to be joined by Kelly. Now, Kelly's our first American on the show. So Kelly is dialing all the way from LA. She's running a house over in Beverly Hills. So super excited to talk to her about her career, her journey. She's been doing it for donkey's years. And also it's interesting to see, how her role and her life compares to those in London that do the same job. Is it the same thing? Is it not the same thing? So really keen to welcome her onto the show. So hi, Kelly, how are you?
Hi there, I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
No, great. Yeah, no, thanks for joining. So it must be morning with you now. Nice sunny morning, California.
It is absolutely breathtaking in Beverly Hills. We have the bright blue sky and the palm trees are popping and it's gorgeous. It really is.
I love California. It is one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah, we have spectacular, lots of variety, ocean, mountains, lakes, rivers, everything. It's very scenic here. That's for sure.
Beautiful. So talk to me, let's sort of dive straight into present day then. So tell us about your current situation in terms of sort of where you are in terms of work.
Yeah, I manage a big estate here in Beverly Hills. And I can say that this is pretty much my dream job. No complaints. I adore this job. It's managing, it's enough square footage for me where I don't ever get bored. I'm always busy. I'm always, doing something on just the most beautiful place you can imagine. It's really rough.
So describe your setting then. So it's a private home. The family's not based in Beverly Hills all the time though, are they?
Right. Keeping it as vague as possible. It's like, I'm here, I'm overseeing a house to keep it running, to keep the gardeners going, to keep everything functioning, just like, it's up to date. Everything's not deferred maintenance, nothing like that. It's kept up very nice. Exterior, interior. I keep track of housekeeping as well at times, and then other times I don't. And there's other staff that come in, and it can be, it fluctuates between like 5 or 10. Not 5 or 10, 5 to about 5 staff come in, like chef and laundress and that kind of thing, or they subside and they go out, so it just kind of like it varies. It really varies.
So do you describe yourself as a hands-on estate manager?
Yes, very much. Yes. Yeah. I do manage people, but it's when the time comes, it's just like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just varies.
Yeah, I bet. And how long have you been there for?
It's a year now. And industry though, for a good, like you said, crack me up donkey years. That is British. I love that. That is so cute.
It's probably going to be, I wonder how many phrases I can throw in throughout the course of the session where you're like, what is she talking about? Because I probably have more weird sayings than a Londoner, because I'm from Yorkshire, and Yorkshire people say things a bit weird, and like we have these funny sayings, and my husband doesn't know what I'm talking about half the time, so I wonder if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're just going to have to say. It cut out just a minute ago. Just for the listeners, if this does continue to cut out because we are quite far away, we'll just turn the video off, won't we, and have a more seamless conversation. But so far, so apart from the number of years you said you'd worked there, it just cut out then. How long have you worked there for?
Oh, okay. It's been a year now here at this location. And then altogether, going on like 17, 18 years doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. A long time. And so what were you doing before 17 years ago, and what made you get into it?
Yeah, I was a traditional, typical housekeeper. That meant in America, you go to one house, a different house every day, and you have your clients, and that was the thing I was doing for many years. And then I moved down to LA, and as I was driving down, I just had a passing thought like, oh, I'd love to work for a movie star or a celebrity, and do my line of work. And, just didn't really think much of it. And here I am years later, I discovered how to get into the industry. That was a big door opening for me. And, lo and behold, I just worked my way up to like bigger and bigger places, getting my foot in the industry and working up with different households and things like that, and getting experience. So that's how it started.
So is the private sector over in LA, is it a big sector? So if you were to go looking for a job tomorrow, is there quite a lot of opportunities, or is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's hot spots. That means, what I mean is, in LA is great for our industry. New York would be another one, and Florida, and on the high what do you call it, high real estate and the high-end realty areas like that. I imagine, I don't know in the middle of America. I imagine where Starkey is, Starkey International, maybe there's some high-end high real estate that's pretty wealthy people over there. But I just noticed that people move to New York for work. Sometime one person moved over there looking for work, and then they found something in LA or back in San Francisco. It was like, oh, why did you move all that way? Because there is work here. There is in the San Francisco area as well. California, those cities are great for that.
Yeah, sure. That's really good to know. I'll note those locations down for where I target next.
Yeah.
But I would have said the same places. So LA for sure. We've got clients in New York, and then we do lots of yacht recruitment. And you obviously got all the yachts down in Florida too. And
yeah,
that. So yeah. That's probably where I would have sort of guessed anyway.
Yeah.
So over the course of the 17 years, then, so obviously there's quite a lot to delve into. But do you want to sort of maybe talk to me about some of the highs of those 17 years, some of the jobs that you've loved?
Sure. Yeah. I moved. I guess my highest, I would say, celebrity person, because right now the job is like just a businessman. It's very nice. It's more not a celebrity that I work for, but I did work for a really fun client, or whatever you call it, principal, who was. And that was a blast. I really, really enjoyed that. He was right in Hollywood, and I ran the house there. And oh my gosh, that was another very, very highlight that I had. Just a lot of fun, a lot of entourage that would come in, and there'd be a lot of action and activity going on. When he got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that was really fun because the house was just buzzing. It's that lifestyle, I get to experience that. It was really fun. Yeah.
Were you
and yeah.
And were you housekeeping then? Were you in more of a management role?
How it goes is you work for the people. I was taking the role of a house manager, and my what the duties are, but that would not come across from the people who hired me, like, not for himself, I'm not saying, but his team would call me a different title. They would call me, a housekeeper, but a housekeeper did not do, hiring to get estimates for cutting down trees, or a tree fell on the house, and and a big plumbing line broke, and I'm managing the plumbing crew, and that's, you can call it whatever you want title, but I was the house manager there. I mean, so that's what happens in houses, that you can do duties, and you can wear the hat of like 15 different things, and if they want to call you blah, then you're that. But I wore everything. I wore the hat of everything. I was in charge of that house for sure. Nobody else. It all came to me. So
you know
call
what?
it what you will.
I hear that quite a lot, where a client will come to us and say, we're looking for a housekeeper, and it's like, brilliant, and she's gonna be doing X, Y, Z, and we say to them, that's not a housekeeper job. A housekeeper just cleans. You need like a PA, a house manager, a chauffeur, a cook, like a laundress. Like, fine, we can find what we're looking for. That's fine, but we've got a housekeeper, and we've got to double the salary.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. I have been in those situations completely. Yeah, the house can call whatever you want to title it, but you just fill the role. Whatever is required, you're doing it. And they cannot title it whatever, but you're doing it. Yeah, I've been in those places. And and there's been another situation that's been very maybe a common situation for people, it comes to mind, is where you're supposed to be in a household and you're supposed to work there but be unseen. How do you do that? that is I've been in that household where you're supposed to get everything accomplished, but don't be seen. Just don't I get it that you're not supposed to be in the face of everybody. I understand, but that was a complicated situation that I was in. Very, very tippy toe. And, I've been in those situations too, where it's super private and it's like, whew, my gosh, that was a heavy load right there. So like now I feel like I work my way up to, it's like, it's a, I don't know if it's mutual respect, but at least they recognize and they're considerate. Like they actually take you into account. And some people, I wanted to bring this up, is some families through my 17 years, some families, it's like you go in an interview and they're interviewing you, but you have also got to make that judgment and that like discernment. Do I want to work for these people that are, like super nitpicky and they're just, or more laid back and more casual? That's the kind of thing that I like. And I wanted to mention that too, here in America, the difference between butler and what I see is, and the butler is not casual. It's super formal. I'm in a household that's semi-formal, which is nice. That's my style. America, I am so laid back. I have to say, I am not the formal butler type. And so, it just depends on the family. Their personality creates so much of your job. Like it all hinges on who you're working for, basically. I mean, the setting can be nice and everything, but your job will be night and day difference if you're being, super critical and they're on you and they're just like every little thing, or they're just like, good, do your job. Okay. I'm got a million other things. It's like, that is a big critical point in our career. I would believe, in the private household staffing area.
Everything you just said is so true. So like whenever I talk to candidates, especially if they've got an interview coming up and they're super nervous, I'll always say to them, like, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. It's a two-way street. And if anything, clients don't realize this, and they bloody should. In fact, I should get some clients on the show. Clients think that they have all the power and they can pick and choose who they want, but actually there's not many really good private household staff. So actually, the client sometimes should feel lucky that a housekeeper or a house manager has chosen them to work for. So if I was a client, I would be feeling nervous for the interview. So I'm thinking, right, there's not loads of really good house managers. I need to make a good impression. I want them to work for me. I want them to pick me. But some clients just think that staff are disposable and there's loads of them and they can treat them how they want, and they're idiots, because if they do their recruitment properly and show some respect and have a nice working environment, they will, firstly, their staffing will be much cheaper because they won't have to replace staff all the time.
Yeah.
Real good longevity from their team members because people will stay there forever because they love it. And it just, but yeah, clients are just rude. Clients that are rude, I'm just like, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face because you're making your life harder for yourself. Because all you're doing is replacing your staff all the time because they're going to leave.
You know it. But one point I have to make, what I learned, and this is, maybe you can agree with this, or what I saw, I had to do temporary jobs in between the full-time, getting a full-time gig at a house. So here I was popping around to different houses in Bel Air and, Hollywood and all over. And I got to work with a mind-blowing colleague. I mean, this gal was, I don't know, I just put her up on a pedestal. She was the most amazing. She could do anything. She could cook. She was an LVN. She could manage a house. I mean, this lady was astounding. And so why I bring her up is because this is how her life went. She gave over to her job so much she was telling me all her history of her jobs. This lady would go above and beyond, basically, is what I'm saying. And then when she would do that, she would stay with a family until the person passed away, basically. Oh, and what happened after that? She would get a car. She would get, the family would say, you're not leaving. We're sending you $50,000. We're keeping you, whatever. This I dubbed to be, because this woman had such a great exchange value that she gave over to her jobs. And I mean, she traveled from far away and it didn't bother her. I mean, she lived her life for them. I mean, put herself there for them. And what did she get back? Look, she got great jobs. She got great households. They never let her go. So, we got to keep that in mind too. I keep it in mind because I have a great house and I don't want to lose it. So I do the best I can to give to this house and this family and this job. And outside of that as well, I write blogs, or I write, I coach people in this industry to get the jobs, because Lord knows I have been through a lot of job interviews and finding the houses and all that. So I really, it's like, I keep that in mind, that I have to exchange in order to get back good. And I get back good. I love this job. I absolutely adore it.
You know what? I love that because, firstly, I take it when you do your interview process and job hunting, take your time and find that right family. So it is, like I say, it's a two-way street. When you're in an interview, you need to be making sure it's the right family for you. And then once you get that job that's right for you, completely agree with you, give it your all, because there's no point doing anything half-assed, because if you do it half-assed, then the client's going to think you're a bit crap and you're not going to last very long. So the more you put in, the more you'll get out. And like you said, you can make that job your forever job if you want to. It's in your power. And I know loads of candidates that are brilliant and they are fantastic employees. And then you get your candidates that are just flaky and they flip between job and job and job. And it's like, come on, if you were to commit that bit more, then you would get so much more back. So much more back.
Yeah. A lot of people have the gimme attitude. Like, well, what can you give me? Because you're not giving me enough and I'm not going to do anything. I'm like the opposite. I work my way up and I learned the hard way, maybe. Is like, you give and you give a lot and then you get back really good. So I just use that as an example. And another point that I come across, and you probably come across too, is that when people are looking for a job in the private household sector, is they tend to only look for job wanted ads or the job openings. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to market yourself. I am big on that. I am a big proponent on, you gotta put yourself and market yourself and go out all over the place. And like, I took out Facebook ads on myself. I know how to market. I am a social media kind of person. And I mean, I did my LinkedIn profile, I pimped it out, watched the YouTube videos, get all the tips on how to make your LinkedIn profile look good. Yeah, that's a big thing that people just sit around and I'm connected with my colleagues and they sit and they call me and they're like, I can't find anything. I'm like, I'm going to hit you on the head. You got to market yourself. You got to you got to outflow. That means put your message out there, like, and not just read the want ads. I'm like, that's not how you get a job. I am.
I know it definitely. But that's how I found you, because I've got quite a strong online presence. You've got a really strong online presence. That's how we found each other ultimately, wasn't it? The fact that we're but yeah, people can do more. So yeah, so many people, they wait until they need a job, then they look for a job, but they could be active in online communities all the time anyway. And then sometimes jobs may come find them, because of it. So yeah, agreed. Online, especially online, building your own sort of personal brand can sort of go a long way. And networking and getting out there and meeting people.
Yeah. Networking. Oh yeah, that's huge. Yeah, you got to do that as a part and aspect of job searching. Absolutely. How can anyone? I don't know how you can just find a job by just narrowing it down to like, well, this is open. Oh, that's open. It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. And another thing that's fun is I like to do is I keep thinking of Simeon Rosset, and he's in Scotland. He's a butler in Scotland. He runs the butler school. And I love just connecting with my field. Like there's another Future Butlers International. Oh, I forget their name. And they're in Florida. Super fun to just get updates, stay abreast of what's happening in our field and stuff. I love that. Simeon, he makes videos on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah, I know him. I know he makes videos like how to pack a suitcase and how to clean that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it because you feel isolated. You're I call it a little satellite out here, doing doing my thing in Beverly Hills. And I just like to stay connected with, newsletters and what's happening in the field with you. It's like, and LinkedIn is good for that because, really it's our little community, and I like to contribute any way I can to our field because, it just keeps me where I am. It keeps me afloat here at work. So
it's really nice as well. And I sort of say, like, the private sector is a huge sector, but it's a very closed sector. Some people are super secretive, which is silly. Like, we may as well just share stuff, and it can be really lonely. So it's nice to have some kind of community that we can all be part of. That's the whole point of this podcast, is just to bring us all together and all just like, get on. Is there much of a community maybe in Beverly Hills or LA as a whole where do you know many other private staff in your area?
Yeah, I try. And also there are, oh my gosh, there's DEMA. I'll have to remember.
I know DEMA.
Okay. Domestic, the acronym goes like Domestic Estate.
Domestic Estate Management Association. They used to doing stuff in England, and they came in. I think I'm actually on the board of the English. I think I'm on the board of the English branch. But then I think the English side's fizzled out a little bit, so there isn't a big presence here, I don't think.
Okay, good. But then there's another group also. I'm trying to. DEMA pops to mind, but there's another association, and as you can tell, I'm not a part of that. I was when I was looking for a job. I was really networking. But you know what I can say is the agencies, I am like really connected or have a good rapport with the agencies here in LA. I can say I know just about every single agency in LA. They know me. They know who I am because, you just, after years of dealing with them and them dealing with me, it's like, yeah, you get to know them. So that's another happening very, very strong in LA is we have tons of agencies. So I can say that.
Well, that's good because that means there's lots of support there for you. It's great.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, they're always, doing some agencies are productive, some are quiet. You know, it just all depends on the personality of the agent.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes, you know? Yeah. So I love it.
So in the households that you've worked then in America, is it typically American teams, or are there often mixed nationalities that you work with?
Well, luckily I can say here it's mixed, which is wonderful. We have Nepal. I love Nepal. And we have Nepal staff here, which is wonderful. And then others is not so mixed. This is no, I take that back. Okay, a large Hispanic, you know, is very, very typical to have the Hispanic influence, which is, you know, they look at me and they're like, you're white and you're cleaning. It's like, usually it's Hispanic, you know? And so I speak Spanish. I love Hispanic people. They're, you know, my coworkers, you know, I love them. So that's what we get. That's the influence that we get. Is I'm trying to think, not too many other nationalities that I can say. We don't get too many English that I have worked with that I can think of. Armenian, like I've worked for families that are Armenian nationality, which is fun, great. I love it. I love the mix. We're in America, you know, you got to expect and hope for it, because it's boring being white.
I know for a fact lots of Brits and Europeans that would love to come over and work, but it's just not as easy to get visas anymore.
Oh yeah, that must be. Yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, I think if there wasn't the barrier of sort of working visas, there'd be so many people over here that would want to come over and work.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think in the Middle East, I get a lot, or I see a lot of people looking. I get contacted, do you want to go to the Middle East? I'm like, no, thank you. I did work for, you know, just temporarily there's the Middle East is here, and like they like Philippine. I worked with some Filipino people, which is just fantastic. They're so, I can't speak highly enough. And you know, all the nationalities that I just adore. So anyways, it's fun. It's really fun when I get a chance to work with and share our cultures and stuff. I love it. And to see the Middle East, how they interact and stuff is,
well, you know what? So it's not going to suit you because you have family, so you can't just get up and go over. Working in the Middle East is an amazing opportunity and a million times better than what you would think it would be. So yeah, so especially we do a lot of recruitment in the Middle East, lots and lots and lots.
Yeah.
And I think initially, especially if you're female and you're young, you're thinking there's nowhere I'd rather work less. But actually, I went out to Saudi in January with a couple of my colleagues, and I've never been made to feel more welcome as a woman in a country ever. They were the loveliest, most welcoming people.
Wow.
And the kindest people. The men treated us with respect. I was in meetings. So it was so far from what people think it is. I think maybe it was like that 20 years ago. But now, I have people that went out there and have worked there for the last 3-4 years and won't come home. So, yeah.
Wow. That is great to know. Oh, I love it. You're dispelling all kinds of stereotypes and, you know, considerations that people have. That is really nice to know.
Well,
awesome.
A backup plan. If you want to get shipped out to Saudi, you just come and knock on my door and I'll ship you out to Saudi.
Gotcha. Another impression, or you can correct me, I got this idea that they really like Filipino people, or there's a big influx of, they like that caliber of staff. Am I wrong? Or is it just all over?
No, they have lots of Filipino because the Philippines is just so close to them. So it's just like, you know, it's just a good place to get staff. But yeah, like the service industry, a lot of the Filipinos work in the service industry. And even in the UK, we get requests in the UK where, you know, Filipinos are really sought after. And it's because they just work really well. They're really lovely employees and they're easy to work with. and their standards are really high.
Yeah.
Again, it's these whole stereotypes. It's so funny when clients they don't request those nationalities, but they have preferences for. And,
Yeah.
it's normally, to be fair, because they may have had somebody before that was amazing, and they're just trying to create a replica and thinking, well, we've always had really good experiences with Spanish or with Filipino, so if you can get us another Filipino, that'd be great. And I kind of want to shake them and be like, there's nothing to do with being Filipino, it's just the person that you liked. Like, you're not going to like every Filipino housekeeper in the entire bloody world. So stop pigeonholing things. And they won't look at anybody else. And it's like, you liked that Filipino. Doesn't mean you say like Filipinos.
Exactly. And that's who that's that lady I was raving about. And I put her on a pedestal. She was Filipino. And she was just like this, I can't speak enough about her. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like, wow, once you meet that kind of person, you just think, oh, they're all like that, but you can't generalize. You just can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you, over the 17 years that you've had in the sector, has your jobs required you to travel much, or have you always just been based in the US?
I've been based in the US. Yeah, there are jobs that I've been on the interviews, of course, and their requirement would be, like, do you want to travel? I tend to just be home. I like to be based at home and live out. There's plenty of opportunity to live in different job settings. And yeah, I just haven't been the one to pursue the travel. I don't have that travel bug. When I was younger, maybe I would have done that, but I'm happy to just live out. I live at home, and then I pop into work, and it just works great for me that way. But there are plenty out there that, yeah, you got to travel. Another thing, you live in, or it fluctuates. You got to live part of the time here and then part of the time away. And yeah, you just adapt to whatever household, what they need and stuff. And then I tend to leave roles that wanted me to cook and stuff. It's just not my forte. But a lot of like you were saying, job roles, they'll just bundle it all up. Like, can you be our cook, be our nanny, and be our housekeeper? My houses have been like that, where I seem to have worked my way up. Like, I had really tough, really hard personalities to deal with. Not anything, don't let your mind go, because I'm not talking about him, but other households. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I won't say much, but then I steadily, with my practice of giving quite a bit after I learned my lesson to not be chintzy, I like snapped out of it, and I started to give a lot. And I just steadily, I can see my career path go from that really hard job that was, like someone breathing fire down your neck. It was like, ugh, yeah. I worked my way up from that hard job to like another breakneck job where I was the nanny, I was the cook, big, huge house with the kids and the dogs. And oh my gosh, it was so breakneck. It wasn't stress. It wasn't like someone breathing fire, but it got slightly better. You see, it went from fire breathing to like really maxed out in stress. And then I went to another house that was a little bit higher, that was very nitpicky. They were just like, it wasn't bad, but it was, again, like everything was just, it was like, whoa. And I was like this. It was working my way up. And then I get the jackpot, which is like, take care of the house. See you later. I'm like, oh my God. Talk about nice. So it was all based on and predicated on my willingness to just give. And I think that's a key that I want to, let other people know, that you can't just, I have colleagues, I tell you, I talk to them and they're sitting there and they're going, well, he's not paid and they didn't offer me very much. And I'm not going to take it because I would have to do, I'm just like, get a job, jump in there, man. Work your way up.
Yeah, you and me will get on, honestly, because I think the exact same thing. So
yeah.
This episode was going to go out in about 3 weeks' time, so it's difficult to talk about relevant stuff when we don't, it goes out a bit. But I'm keen to know how COVID's affecting you at the minute. and work. So the day today is 30th of July. So in the UK, lockdown's been lifted a bit. We're only meant to be doing necessary travel. It kind of looks like the numbers are creeping back up again. And so we're sort of in limbo at the minute where we don't really know whether it's going to sort of stay calm or whether it's going to kick off again. How has it affected you, and have you been able to continue working?
Yeah, I again thank my lucky stars. I am so grateful to be working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have empathy. I have a very good capacity to focus on others, and I'm not very much, like me. I don't know. I just worry about others. I know how hard it is. Some people are not able to work, and I don't know how they are surviving, because for me, I just, every day when I talk to someone about this, I say, I'm thankful I don't work in an office, because I go from my house to this house, and it's simple, and I don't have to deal with anyone else, and we don't have to worry about, multiple people around and all this stuff. I'm just thanking my lucky stars, because my husband too. My husband is an essential. He drives a truck locally, and he's essential. So he's been able to keep his work and keep working. But how are other people doing it? I just really don't know. It must be so hard.
Like your bars and restaurants open or closed at the moment?
They are open, and every state, why I hesitate is every state is a little different. So California, our governor, and it goes straight into politics, and I will try and leave that out. Yeah. but anyways, ours are doing the best they can. The restaurants and the bars, of course, the people want them open, but then the powers that be are a different story. So I'll leave it like that.
It's a difficult situation, because obviously to keep everybody safe, we all should just stay in our own homes, but the world needs to move on. And so, the economy needs to move on. So, I feel, I understand why, our government's similar, it's best that people don't go to restaurants, but then the restaurant owners need to keep their restaurants. So it's such a difficult one to manage. And obviously we want to protect people as much as possible, but equally we all need to survive this from a financial and economic point of view as well. So yeah, tricky one to fathom. So I'm glad you've managed to stay at work and keep things as normal as possible in that sense.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. And you must be too, working from home. You are able to shift gears and make it work.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, at the beginning, that affected us, because our agency, Swan Recruitment, is the name of my agency.
Say it again.
Silver Swan Recruitment.
Okay, good.
Silver Swan Recruitment is my agency, and we obviously do private household recruitment. And so, obviously, when lockdown happened, we can't put staff in people's homes anymore. So our business kind of stopped for a bit. Because obviously we couldn't be making placements. So we were all kind of on hold, which is why I started the podcast, because I had time and I was a bit bored. So that's why I started the podcast. But luckily now, things are really picking up now. Like recruitment's pretty busy now, and everybody's desperate to get sort of staff. Rich people can't go without staff for very long. So we're now so busy helping people restaff their homes. So, but yeah, from a business owner, I've got a team, who I have to worry about. And when the business sort of like comes to an abrupt halt for a bit, it's stressful. So, but no, we're doing we survived, obviously, and you take a knock, but you come out stronger, and we've changed a fair bit as an agency as a result, and we've implemented new things, and we've got the podcast, and you take away what you can from it, from these kind of things. So
all credit goes to your creativity right there. You're staying afloat, because look at you, you're creating all this stuff, and you just managed to, keep your head above the water.
Well, exactly.
Wonderful.
Wow. Well, look, that kind of brings the podcast to a sort of natural end, really. I could honestly talk all day long, but I know. Honestly,
I love it.
I always say to myself, try and keep the podcast sort of half an hour, because really people don't want to listen to much more than that. But I really struggle, because I've just got stuff that I want to talk about. It's really difficult to wrap it up. I might have to do sort of like season 2, where I go back to all the guests from season 1 and just continue.
There you go. I'll be there.
Season 2 coming up. Well, it's been really, really nice to talk to you, Kelly. I think it's going to be really fascinating for people to listen, because we do actually have a lot of listeners from America to this podcast who'll be able to listen in, but a lot of listeners here in the UK and Europe and over in the Middle East, you'll just find it interesting hearing things from your perspective and what, you know, your careers look like, and and just, you know, what it's like on the other side of the world, really, in our sector. So it's again, that's why this podcast is so nice, because we're sort of we would never have spoken otherwise. It's so nice that it's a way to connect us all, you know.
Yeah, I love it, and it's an honor to that you had me. I'm really grateful. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Let's keep in touch, hey?
Okay. Yes, let's do that. Awesome.
Thanks for listening, everybody. That's at the end of another episode. I've hoped you really enjoyed it. As always, do come and subscribe. We release new episodes every Wednesday. If you subscribe from where you normally download your podcast, then you'll be notified when we put a new one out. If you want to be a guest, please drop me an email at philippa@silverswanrecruitment.com. Follow us. We're across all of our social networks, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. And then finally, if you're looking for work or if you're looking for staff, come and visit our agency, Silver Swan Recruitment. That's it for now. I'll see you all next week. Cheers.